Good day, class. Now, today we are going to dive a little bit deeper into the Industrial Revolution. Okay, now before we begin, um, like I've said in the previous video, you might hear some noises in the background, cars going by, honking, things like that. I'm going to try to edit that stuff out, but just in case I don't, I do apologize for that. But other than that, make sure you have the packet. If you don't have the packet, you have some sheets of paper to take your notes down on, and just do it like we've done in class, okay? And also be sure that once this video is done, that the next time you show up to class, that you turn in your notes with your name on it into the black basket next to the door. So, without further ado, let us begin. So here's your warm-up. So go ahead, look at the picture and analyze it. What do you see? Now look around, there's some obvious things, but look really, honestly, really look at this picture. Look at the people, look at the room, okay? And ask yourself, what's going on here? Look at the expression on the people's faces. And the second part question is, what's happening here? So the first part is, what do you see? And the second part is, what do you think is going on? Also, you should ask yourself, how are these people living in an area that big? So try to guess, like the sleeping arrangement, how life was for those people, okay? Now to the notes. So, America had become the hub for free enterprise, which meant people like who were taking risks and creating inventions and things like that made a profit. So if you've ever seen the show like the Shark Tank, where these inventor comes in and they talk to these investor people, and they basically give their sales pitch, and then they say, I'm looking for an investor who will give me $1 million, and then give me pay for my workshop, and you'll get like 20% over 5 years, things like that. Those are people are entrepreneurs. And the thing is, at this time in the country, they were basically seeking out to make a fortune, manufacturing goods or transporting goods. Now, at that time, there were a lot of citizens of the country who felt that we should have a laissez faire type of mentality. Now, you should remember that word from your vocab, but just in case you forgot, laissez faire means basically let the people do what they want. Okay? So the people felt that the government got involved economically, that the price of things would rise up. So a bag of chips wouldn't no longer cost $1. They thought if government got involved, then the price would increase from $1 to, let's say, $5. And then nobody would want to buy those chips. And then the company would hurt, and then the people would hurt. And because the company's not making profits, they're going to lay people off. They lay people off, those people have no money, and then those people can't find jobs because, it's just like a total vicious cycle. So they figured if government got involved, things are going to get worse. Now, the government actually practiced it. They they taxed low and they spent low amounts of money. And on top of that, they didn't increase regulations on industry. Basically, they let companies do whatever they wanted. Also, with not regulating them, they didn't control things like wages and prices. So a company didn't necessarily have to pay a minimum wage to anybody. They could basically go out looking around saying, hey, who wants to work for $1? And then a new group of people come into this country. Will you work for 90 cents, 70 cents? If there were takers, they took them in and got rid of the people who were working for $1, unless those people said, you know what, I'll pay for, or I'll work for 60 cents or 70 cents, whatever. Then they might be kept. But then again, if people are undercutting each other, the only people who are winning are businesses. Now, the other thing the government didn't regulate was prices. So the prices of things, sometimes necessities, would rise up to the point where people had no choice but to pay in order to get things because they actually needed it. And the companies knew this. And all they did was rake in the money. Now, the government, they thought that, hey, if we let the companies do what they want, they're going to make money. And if they make money, then they're going to build more, they're going to hire more, they're going to basically spread the wealth around, and then the American people will be happy, the companies will be happy, and then the country will be happy. But it didn't work out that way. Now, in the 1890s, companies had this idea of a company town. Now, company towns are basically a town created and owned by an entire company or corporation. So what they would do is, let's say a company buys some land outside of any big city, away from Fresno, Clovis, things like that. And they decided, you know what, we're going to set up area over here, buy some farmland, make a factory, and then surrounding the factories, put houses and other buildings. Um, Basically, the companies would own almost all of it, if not all of it. Stores, homes, market, libraries, churches, and even entertainment, the theater, the bars. There was a little pool hall, they would own that. Now, the thing is, the companies realize, you know what? Why we have all these people who are working for us? Why give them the option to live away from us? So they made it, in some of them, not all of them, but a lot of these companies made it mandatory that if you work for us, you got to live in one of our houses. And they wouldn't hire people unless they agreed to live in the company towns. That meant they had to work for the company. Then they had to pay the company rent. When they bought stuff, that money went to the company. Um, when they were going to the pool hall or the theater, the company made money. Okay. Now, if you look to the right, that political cartoon is amazing. Because if you see the person on his sleeve, it says employee, and above him, it says low wages. It says wage slavery, uh, capitalism, monopoly, and on the bottom, it says high rent. So he is not getting paid much, like we're saying. Sometimes like 70 cents, $1 um, a month or a week. I'm sorry, not a month, a week. And then basically the rent is expensive and they have no money to save. They have to spend it for food, for rent, you know. And here's the thing: the apartments and the houses surrounding the company towns that are near the company towns were actually a lot cheaper. But if those people moved into those homes, they were fired. And chances are that company would tell other companies, hey, this person is not following the rules. They're a troublemaker. You should not hire them. And it's just like a vicious rumor. Chances are it's false. But the thing is, once people believe it, it spreads like wildfire. And that's what's happening. Now, the US government imposed heavy tariffs on imported goods. Now, if you can remember from the Civil War videos, um, and if you were with me from the beginning of the school year, you remember the word tariffs from Britain and things like that. Um, they put basically tariffs means a tax, and they put this heavy tax on imported goods. That's stuff coming into our country from other countries. When things we ship out to other countries, when we send things to other countries, that's called an export. Remember, export, exit. Imports come in. Okay, that's a way to remember it. So yeah, so things from England, France, Italy, when they came into the United States, they went from, let's say, it costs $100. It might jump up to $175, $200. Okay, nobody's gonna want to buy that. That's too expensive. Basically double the price? Heck no. The reason they did this is they wanted to help American industries compete against foreign competition. They wanted people to buy American because if people buy American, the money stays in our country and it helps out our economy. Now, again, this did help our companies, but it did hurt some of our companies as well. One of the biggest companies, actually say industries that gets hurt by tariffs is always farming. Because you have to remember, back in this time, in the late 1800s, the fresh fruit did not stay fresh that long. So when something was sent overseas and it cost a lot of money, because now there's a tariff on that one, because we put a tariff on one country, they're going to put it on us. And what ends up happening is that fruit gets spoiled and nobody's making money. So the farmers are always hurt first with the tariffs. Now, the thing is, the farmers, if they keep losing money, they can't pay their workers the same amount of money because they're not making any money. So then they cut down the pay or they may just fire somebody. And when that happens, those people are like, you know what? Ted and Bill have already gotten fired. Chances are I'm going to be next, or somebody else I know is going to be next. So you know what? I might as well just quit and move to a factory because the factories are making money. Now, here's the thing. A lot of these businesses, they realize the American people are not happy with the government. They're not trusting the politicians. So the businesses decide that they are going to push for free trade. Now, free trade basically means an international trade to leave its natural course. No heavy taxes, no restrictions, no quotas. You have to sell this much, you have to buy this much. It's basically like, hey, let's negotiate the price. Let's see what works, what's fair, and what we both agree on. Now, the thing is, that's a slap in the face of the government, and it showed a lot of people that, the government is basically weak. And like I've said in class, and I'll say it again, a lot of people don't know who the presidents are during this time because a lot of these presidents and the politicians are ineffective or they're corrupt. So that's why they're really forgotten. Now, for your final question, here it is. What are your thoughts about company towns? What are the pros and cons of them? What are the good things and bad things? Now, the way you're going to do this is create a list. All right. What are some pros in the perspective of the workers? And what are some of the pros for the factories? And then what are some of the cons for the people, the workers? And what are some of the cons for the factory? Okay. So create the list, the goods and the bads, and again, from the worker's perspective and from the company perspective. All right, so once you finish with this, you are done for the day. Yes, this was a short lesson, but that's all for this one. Be sure to look out for the videos, make sure you're keeping up with them, and again, make sure your name's on the paper and then turn it in when you come to class. Okay, so that's it for today. Hope you guys learned something new and have fun.